Maybe we'll have a little bit shorter class as a result of my bad throat, but by her grace, we should be able to pull through. Very happy to see you, Sandeep.
So it's my pleasure. I mean, sorry, I couldn't join the last two classes.
No need to be sorry. You can see the recordings are available,
Yes.
So you could see, because why? Because this continuity is important, so, I think most of you will know Sandeep, or some of you may not know also, because he also is not only a distinguished alumnus, but also, he's associated with us because, his program, startup we use for strategic management course.
Yes.
He's a famous guy who created the human, that chain reaction, that chain reaction game, in Pragati, one of the Pragatis. And
Right.
that became, a startup, that software, which is better than, I think, Capstone. But it's just that, for small players, very difficult to, penetrate markets which are monopolistic or oligopolistic. But really a champion guy. Very proud of Sandeep.
Thank you so much.
And his presence will really elevate the session. I know that. He's a deeply spiritual person, one of the finest alumni produced by Amrita. He's a genius, basically. Okay.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir.
My pranams to you. Okay.
Sir.
So, I'm very happy to say Deepa also. Deepa is one of my most favorite students. Deepa, if you could switch on your video, people could see you.
Good morning, sir. I am also actually down with fever and throat infection. So, but I've been missing your classes since the last few weeks. So I thought not miss it this time.
And did you see the videos? I mean, the previous two ones?
Yes. I saw the recordings.
So why I'm asking, because as I was saying, continuity is very important, because typically we will be building upon things that we discussed last class. That is how it will be fruitful, I think, for everyone. And that is the purpose in recording, because even if you miss because of official engagements or something, family function, like Sadhu is traveling to Bangalore. He told, I'm so sad that I will not be able to join, but I said, fine, no problem, you can watch it. Neha also, you saw, so she can watch it later. So that's the idea. So what I have done so far, for the benefit of those who may not have watched also the first two episodes, is that I have shared a little bit of my life journey, and how I came on the path on which I am right now, and then the mysteries of this path, how synchronous events happen, and I refer to Carl Gustav Jung in one of the sessions, and Sandeep, you will be aware about that, Jung, right? Synchronicity. So synchronicity is a real thing. Actually, it happens in people's lives. Sandeep himself has shared a few synchronous events with me. That person dying near you
Yes.
in a queue, right?
Yes.
And this you meeting one master. I remember
Yogi Ram Surat Kumar.
Ram Surat Kumar, and some strange experiences with him and stuff. And many times now we think we are going somewhere, but we end up meeting someone else which we are not anticipated, and that turns out to be a turning point in life. So such things are called synchronous events. And so in one class I had discussed that, how people who are drawn to the path. Now I will use this word, the path, in a very matter of fact way, assuming that I am with a very elite bunch of students. These are not novices, okay? Because these classes are not meant for novices. These classes are meant for real, serious, people who want to grow in life, who really believe that they can grow their light, and who really believe that light is needed in this world. Light of wisdom, joy, peace, serenity is needed in this world. So I will talk now from that perspective, and so I don't need to compromise my standards. You know what I'm saying? So little bit, and even the students who are first year, second years, or fresh MBAs, they can raise their bar. And please, you people don't feel angry or offended with me. I'm not trying to insult or something, but this is a Sunday, and I'm giving my Sundays. Even though I'm ill, I'm taking a class that shows my commitment and how much I believe in this. I hope this is evidence. So this is a serious effort, and this is really, in my heart, the desire is that this movement spreads across the globe. By the time I die, I really want to trigger a revolution, where many people want to grow their light. And I want to, be as a leader in that. In that. That will be my contribution, because I have grown a lot in my own inner being, to the extent where my relation with Amma is of very strange type now. It's like mother-son relationship, okay? It's like that. And it's not a small thing, because what Amma is beyond my imagination and is beyond anyone's imagination, okay? I hope you understand what I'm saying. In India, we have the concept of a supremely realized master. And a supremely realized master, what it means, to put it in perspective, Krishna was one, okay? And Amma is another. So, that will put it in perspective what I'm saying, okay? I'm not talking about, small people or, who come and go. I'm not talking about Gandhiji and Mandela. I'm talking about something else, okay? So, she is that stature. For me, she is absolutely God incarnate, okay? My experiences tell me that. So with her grace, I have grown a lot in my life, and I want to share this now. And Amma is not telling me that it is time now to drop the fetters of being a professor or whatever it is, and don't hide yourself now. I have hidden a lot actually, a lot of years, because I have a family, and you want to take care of them, and you want to be politically correct. You know what I'm saying? But now Amma is saying it's enough is enough, and you have to now speak out and venture out. So now I will not, mince my words or compromise or whatever it is that I have realized. I will simply share with my students. Okay, and I have realized a lot. It's not a boast; it's a simple fact. Okay, so you can trust me, and you can grow your light with me. Okay, now there is a stage in your development where information becomes redundant. You no longer crave information. You no longer seek to accumulate information, because information is power, right? So at a stage of our development, the desire for power itself dissolves, goes away, melts away, right? And why it melts away is because, why is power needed? Why is power needed? See, power is needed because we feel insecure, and we want to protect our interests. And even when we use power to conquer other people or usurp their property, it is a fear of future uncertainty. When you accumulate too much, you may not be consciously aware of this, but in a subconscious mind, that is a driving motivation. Okay. You never want to see a time where you go, with some want unfulfilled. And not only you, for your next 7 generations, which is a foolish idea. So, and that happens because of excessive attachment to your near and dear ones. If you will earn everything for your son or daughter, so much so that they don't need to even move their hand or leg, have you done a service to them or disservice to them? Are they human beings or vegetables? They are meant to strive and struggle and earn their own money, isn't it? So that is very poor way of thinking. But anyway, people are stuck with power, they are like that. So a stage comes in your development where you don't crave power. It melts away. It dissolves in the light of your, enlightened consciousness. And at that stage, you feel love for everyone. You feel compassion for the criminal, actually. You don't feel hatred. You feel compassion. Why? Because inside the criminal, you say God. When I say God, I mean that light, that supreme light, Brahman, shining through all. It is just that instrument, that body-mind complex, through which that light is shining, or which the light is animating, is gross tamasic in nature. And that is why that particular instrument behaves like a criminal. That particular body-mind instrument, what we call a person, behaves like a criminal. So criminal is nothing but tamas in action, or any such behavior which is difficult to understand is basically tamas in action. God is not to be faulted. God is not to be faulted. God is pure light, pure energy, pure consciousness. We need to use it to our advantage. Okay. See, this universe, the way it is, no, it is predominantly divine light only. And in that divine light, ocean of divine light, what is depicted as Shir Sagar in that icon, no, Vishnu icon, where he is lying on the Sheshaya, and that there is Shir Sagar around. Shir means milk, ocean of milk around. That milk comes again and again in Indian scriptures or Indian traditional mythos. For example, Saraswati has a vehicle called Rajhans or Royal Swan. You may be knowing about it. Those who don't know, I'm just telling you for information. You can find out. And the Royal Swan is supposed to only drink the milk and leave the water behind. So milk is referred to again and again in our Sanskrit traditional literature. So what does that milk mean? That milk means that which will take us towards enlightenment. And water means that which is perishable, which will die one day. In this example, it leaves the water behind, means everything that is perishable, which belongs to this materialistic dimension, which will be left behind at our death, is water, like money, like power, like fame, like status, like whatever people crave and run madly after. All that is water. So Saraswati Royal Swan drinks only the milk of enlightenment, milk of wisdom, which elevates the consciousness. She is very white in color. That white color depicts sattva quality. So in Indian tradition, there are three qualities: tamas, rajas, and sattva. So Saraswati represents sattva. Lakshmi represents rajas. She is red, wears red, bright red. Women, when they marry, they are dressed in red color in India. Why? Because marriage is celebration of rajas energy. The two people will come together and they will give birth to new children, and a new family will come up. And life giving birth to life wanting to perpetuate life, that is rajas. It's a goal, motive, right? So in a way, you become instruments of the divine to perpetuate the human species, right? If you look at it in this perspective, Khalil Gibran says in Prophet, that your children don't belong to you, they come through you, right? So that is the idea. So Lakshmi represents abundance of wealth, no scarcity anywhere, right? And when you have abundance of wealth, you can buy whatever you like. You will not be suffering from want of anything on material plane, right? And that is Rajas energy. So through passion, through effort, through talent, through imagination, through your visioning ability, you create wealth, right? And then there's Kali. Now I am talking about these three because there is Maha Kali, Maha Lakshmi, Maha Saraswati, the three supreme goddesses. I hope you know your Indian mythology. If not, I will educate you also. So Maha Kali is the tamasic energy. Maha Kali is the correlate of Shiva. Shiva is the tamasic energy. Lakshmi is the correlate of Vishnu. Vishnu is the rajasic energy. And Maha Saraswati is the correlate of Brahma, which is the sattvic energy. So whether you talk about the world, or you talk about the gods, or you talk about demons, or talk about anything, in Indian tradition, everything can be depicted in terms of tamas, rajas, sattva, and their interaction. It's just like 7 notes, fundamental notes in music, can give birth to infinite amount of music. Similarly, 7 colors can give birth to infinite number of colors. And these 3 fundamental qualities or modes of Prakriti. Prakriti means that which gets manifested. Purusha means that which is the manifester but hides behind the manifestation. Right? Yes, Sandeep? Please go ahead.
Sir, I mean, is it okay to ask questions?
Yes. It's meant to be. That is why I'm so happy you are here.
Sir, I mean, generally, tamas. I mean, the what we know of tamas is it's laziness, dullness, inactivity. Is the synonyms that we know of tamas. While you said Kali is something. I mean, I'm not saying embodiment of tamas, but when you said Kali and tamas, I mean, I was a little confused as to
Yeah.
Kali is full of action and a lot of vigor, and how does that?
Yeah, very good question. Very good question. So, uh, I'm so happy that you raised this question. So, otherwise, I will not be able to explore. But in this process, I may not. I had planned something else, but I see myself on a different tangent, as it happens always. Amma takes me on another path. Okay, so, but this is beautiful. I hope, right? So you are enjoying, right?
Absolutely, sir. I
But
mean, I don't know. I mean, that's why I was like not sure if questions
no,
are
no,
okay
no,
or
no.
should we
All
articulate.
all questions are welcome. Don't doubt your questions. Okay. All questions are beautiful because questions lead us to more light. Okay. So you are right. Mahakali is very vigorous. In fact, she is violently vigorous. Okay. She is very turbulently vigorous. So how can that be called tamas? Because tamas is slothfulness, inertia, and such things. But criminals are also very vigorous, and they can be violently vigorous. And but their life is not purposeful. That is what tells us it is not rajas.
Okay.
Because what characterizes rajas is purposefulness.
Okay.
You should have a plan, a vision, a motive, a goal. You cannot be wanton, right? Now, Kali, the story goes like this: that she was very angry for some reason, and because these demons had become very proliferated across the universe, and she wanted to destroy everything. And she was wantonly slaughtering everything and anything which came on her way. All these hats that she's wearing and the hands that she's wearing. It's a very, very, very violent, icon. If you see, small children may get frightened actually of her bloodthirsty tongue protruding out of her mouth. So she's bloodthirsty for all the demons' bloods, right? So she's violently angry. But gods are worried that if she is not pacified, she will destroy the whole universe. So they tell Shiva that you being her husband, only you can bring her to senses. So you please do something because she is your wife. So Shiva goes and lies down on her path, and in her anger she is like going madly, and suddenly she puts her foot by mistake on Shiva's chest. In India, no husband is like very reverential figure. Wives will not put their leg on his chest. So she becomes suddenly like very filled with guilt and horror. What I have done, and it is then that she calms down. And she comes to her normal self. So the idea is that before she is able to contact Shiva, she is lost in tremendous amount of anger, and anger is tamasic energy. Now, if you go deeper into this myth, I hope you will understand that there is no lady called Kali who lives somewhere. That
Right.
much you will understand, right? Kali is, what Jung called an archetype,
Right.
right? Archetypal energy. So India is rich with archetypes. And for MBA students who don't know these things, you can study Jung. It's a very important person for me because I'll often be using his terminology. So, so Kali is an archetypal energy. So what happens is that the one divine is very malleable, very flexible. See, we humans are at an infinite number of different stages in our development, and each one needs a customized solution. So that infinity adapts itself to our specific needs at specific moments of time in our journey. So these archetypes are basically an attempt by the rishis to create entities and enliven them with their tapas so that these entities start to guide people. So I'm not saying that by saying that Kali is not a lady, I'm not saying that Kali doesn't exist. Don't mistake me. Kali does exist. She is very much there, mother of all. But she is not a lady as I and you will understand. She is a form of the infinite with certain characteristics. And certain people need those characteristics for their development. So she is the goddess of the tantrics. Maha Kali is the goddess of the tantra path, the Vam marg, the left-handed path. So there, no, you don't exclude anything as abhorrent or as ugly. You include the ugly in your path and embrace the ugly in your path. You go and sit in the crematorium. You drink out of the skull of the humans who have been burned there. Right? What you are doing? You are basically meeting the ugliest, the most abhorrent part of nature with a ferocious heart. That anger of Kali is in your heart. You want to burn Maya to ashes. You want to burn illusion to ashes. You want to wake up. You say enough is enough. So these demons that Kali is trying to kill are the demons in the subconscious mind, what Jung calls shadow. You are fighting your own shadow. You know that I behave irrationally from time to time. You know that this apparent separation of me and you and everything else, this apparent madness of this world is all illusion. There is something fundamental which is very serene, very divine, very peaceful, very blissful, which is beyond this madness. And you want to reach it, but you are not able to reach it. Because why? Because you are too tamasic for that. It's like music, no? The same song, the same notes you give to a great singer, he will produce magic. But if I will be singing, people will run away. So it is like that. You have to refine your instrument, no? So God is very much there, and you can play music with God. But you have to have an equipment which is refined enough to play that music, divine music. Have I answered your question? So represents
Yes, sir.
Maha Kali represents that phase of the sadhana where the sadhak is tamasic in nature, doesn't know much, doesn't understand much. You will very rarely find tantrics who are very, super PhDs from Harvard. These are very gross people from villages and, remote places, but for some reason they have the sanskara of trying to awaken their mind and they indulge with tremendous passion in that. So she's the goddess of that kind of people, who really want to wake up no matter what. Even the odds are against me, so they can take sannyas, they can go to the wilderness, they can do things which everyone will say this guy is mad or dangerous, but they don't care about society. And you see Shiva is like that. Shiva wears the crematorium mass around him and on his body. So that is why I call Mahakali and Shiva as correlates. Right? So, in Shiva mythology, Kali represents the ferocious aspect of his wife, Parvati. Same with Durga also. And then there is Mahagauri. Same Parvati becomes Mahagauri. You see. So what is Mahagauri? Mahagauri is the absolutely beautiful feminine figure, motherly figure, filled with love for her children, right? So how this transition happened? It happened through the efforts of Mahakali and Mahadurga. By slaying the demons of the shadow that lurk in our shadow, tamas is dissolved, rajas is dissolved, sattva remains. And that sattva is Mahagauri. Gauri is white, right?
Yes,
So it is efforts of Kali and Durga which brought Mahabhauri into being. So that is Mahakali. So idea is that we may be dark and dense and tamasic, but we need not give up hope. There is Goddess Maha Kali to help us on our path. That is the idea. There is Shiva to help us on the path. So let us understand these archetypes. May Amma forgive me, I'm calling them archetypes, but we need to call them in this class because this is meant for intellectuals who have got a refined intellect. Because our rishis, talked at many levels. In one class, I had talked about, Sabdarth, Bhavat and Lakshyarth. Whatever they say will have three levels of meaning. One is Sabdarth, which is literal translation. Other is the Bhavarth, the feeling inherent in that, the devotion, no? And then Lakshyarth, the hidden meaning in that. So I will always talk about the Lakshyarth. Okay. So hidden meaning there. So look at Kali, look at Shiva. Kali has a very red tongue protruding out of her mouth. So that red is Rajas. So that answers your question also partially. That Rajas is not missing from her. That red tongue is Rajas. Right? And she is bloodthirsty for the blood of demons. The Raktabij story, if you know, she drank the blood of Raktabij, right? She is bloodthirsty for the blood of demons. So demons are inside us. Don't mistake Kali and go about killing people, take a gun and shoot down 50 people like it happens in US again and again. That is madness. That is not Maha Kali's teaching. It is to slay the demons inside, not outside. In fact, when you are able to slay the demons inside, you will be able to convert many demons outside into gods. Because your influence will be so great. You know, Buddha Angli Mal story is there. A notorious killer was converted to a saint by Buddha. Right? So Maha Kali, if you look at her iconography, that bloodthirsty tongue is tremendous desire to sublimate my energies from tamasic to sattvic and come close to God. That aspiration in the bosom is burning very brightly. That is Maha Kali. So that what you call seeking, has started with ferocious energy. Ferocious. I will do anything and everything to attain the ultimate. I can die in the process. Doesn't matter. So the heads around her represent the many egos that she has cut. Not outside people. Many egos in her. Ego is a chameleon. Sometimes it becomes a cricket enthusiast. Sometimes it becomes a video game, addict. Sometimes it becomes an alcoholic. Sometimes it becomes, an actor, pretending, putting on a persona. Sometimes it becomes angry, sometimes it becomes sad, sometimes this, that, n number of moods, overtake the ego again and again. So every mood is a result of every disposition inside. And every disposition inside you is classified as a separate person in mythology. And each of these persons, their heads is cutting. Cutting means that kind of thinking she is cutting. How she is cutting? Through rooting out the ignorance. She delves deep into herself because what will she do ultimately? She will be on the path, right, of diving deep into herself. Now here Kali is a person now who is trying to find Shiva, okay. So I am now converting Kali into a seeker. Now she will go deep into herself and find these demons. And she will be irritated with these demons, frustrated. Why I am like this? Why I am doing like that? Why I am begging for love? Why I am, all the shortcomings in her, they disturb her very deeply. She wants to kill them. So she studies psychology, astrology, homeopathy, this, that she does. She stands on one leg and says, I will not drink water for 3 days. Like that, all kinds of mad things she does. And slowly, the wisdom starts to dawn in her. And as wisdom gains and increases, with every level of jump in the wisdom, one head is cut. Then another head is cut. Then another head is cut. Then another is cut. So she is not violent in a gory sense. She is violent in a psychic sense. She is trying to kill the demons in her psyche that lurk in the shadow. Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir.
So, and the hands that you see, which are a skirt around her waist, and she is absolutely naked. Kali is absolutely naked. Why she is absolutely naked? Because nature is Kali, absolutely naked. Does anything come clothed in nature? We all come without any clothes. So nature is raw and naked and virgin and very pure. So she represents the purity of nature. No culture, no clutter in the brain. Absolute expression of the nature, Prakriti. She's Prakriti in the rawest form. Okay. So obviously Prakriti is blind, and the law of karma is blind, right? Prakriti operates through law of karma. You hit me in the left eye, I have to hit you in the left eye. That is law of karma. I mean, I'm reducing it to a very mundane level. It's not that simple, but you know what I'm saying. Nature is like that. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That is what? That is the justice of the jungle, tamasic justice. If everyone is divine, everyone comes from God, why you are trying to kill anyone? Why you are trying to let it be? No, forgive, no. But point is, tamasic people can't forgive. Now, nature is predominantly tamasic. Most beings are predominantly tamasic. They only see, oh, he hurt me, I have to hurt back. Or he hurt me, so let her fall, I will enjoy, I'll clap when she falls. Right? So that is tamasic nature, that is Kali. Nature is like that. When I say nature is like that, don't you see on earth, that is how it is. If it is not like that, why there are so many problems now? In fact, Maha Kali is very much needed right now on the planet Earth. There has to be a movement where people understand that they have become demons. And they are ruining their own life and ruining the planet Earth. They need to become Maha Kali, become very angry with their own perversions, and try to delve deep into themselves and become purer and purer through tapas. So that hand, the skirt that she wears, is the hand which says, I have done this, I have done that. Because of me that happened, because of me this happened. Hand represents action. So your ownership of your actions, which fills you with pride, is the hand. So she cuts pride in herself as a seeker. But the story doesn't end there. There's a Maha Kali at the cosmic level. She says, you bloody fool, you think you're very smart. Huh? I'll cut your head. So accident happens, you die. You come again next birth. You again become very smart. She again says, okay, fine, go again. Because Mahakali is basically play with the word Kal. Shiva is Mahakal. Kali is Mahakali, right? So Mahakal, Mahakali, both depict time. So what is the idea? Idea is that as Mahakali, the goddess I'm not talking about. You may be extra smart, you may do whatever weird things you like, but you just wait for the right time to come. What you sow, so shall you reap. Only time is the distance between you and that experience. So the idea is teaching that there is no free lunch in the universe. If you do something damaging here, you will be punished there. And here and there are not separate. They are united in one continuum of experience. Do you see what I'm saying? Or am I being too abstract?
No, sir. I'm fine.
Everyone?
Sir, it's going well, sir.
Raj couldn't
Actually,
hear you,
I'm
so voice
trying
is
to
breaking.
relate all these things to my own experiences. But as you said, this is a bit higher level than what you actually do in the rest of the classes. But it's interesting, so we get to learn a lot.
You are able to follow me, I'm asking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Don't worry about the classes. Classes will become deeper and deeper and deeper, okay?
So one more question here, sir.
Till you drown in that depth, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me,
Sir, even in the previous class, you had mentioned that as we grow up, like as we grow our light towards enlightenment, even the purpose would leave. Even in that picture, even that rabbit went away. So even now, you had mentioned that purpose would just disappear in the course of our path towards enlightenment. Why does it happen, sir?
No. What I meant was, let me clarify. I didn't mean that purpose goes away. Purpose goes away. What I'm doing on a Sunday here, sitting and working so hard and slogging away. Why am I sitting for so many hours and working, slogging so hard? You mean Amma has to achieve something more enlightenment? It's not like that. In fact, truly enlightened people become selfless workers. All their life is an offering to the planet. to elevate the consciousness. Every enlightened being, Buddha was another example. He worked so tirelessly. So when I said that purpose melts away, the egoic purpose melts away. The purpose of a limited, narrow, separated being melts away. The small-mindedness melts away. You start working for what Krishna says, Loka Sangra in Bhagavad Gita, which is elevating the collective consciousness. Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir.
That is what is happening. So egoic purposes melt away and they give way to collective purposes. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So Maha Kali is black, that is tamas, but she is a goddess. So she is inspiring us to not surrender to the darkness. She is pointing towards Shiva, the supreme light, and says that move towards him. You can move towards Shiva. That is why Amma says in the ashram, everyone says Om Namah Shivaya. Everyone. That we may be like, very Kali is, today, very much Kali is, I'm playing with words now, dark, but there is Shiva in us. So Om Namah Shivaya. So that aspiration should come. Okay. Then progress happens and Maha Lakshmi. You have achieved lot of progress in the Maha Kali phase. So Maha Lakshmi is like Maha Gauri only. Absolutely, beautiful, blissful, abundant and, filled with abundance. She is one with Vishnu, the Supreme, and she lacks nothing. She is fully fulfilled. Contentment, Santosa Param Sukham. She is filled with santos, contentment, happiness. And motherly love oozes out of her system, her being. She blesses all with wealth, abundance. Fear not, I am here. Like the Mahalakshmi. And so Mahalakshmi energy will solve all the problems of the planet. Environmental sustainability, this, that, poverty, hunger, everything will go away if Mahalakshmi were to spread her magic along the planet. But these cosmic energies work in a different way. Maha Kali, Mahalakshmi, Maha Saraswati are cosmic energies. They work in a different way. What is that way? They need vehicle to manifest themselves. So Mahalakshmi may bless a Warren Buffett, make him very rich, and make him do a lot of charity. Yes, Sachit, please go ahead. I didn't notice that you raised a hand.
Yes, sir. I wanted to share, since you were talking about even synchronicity earlier, I have no idea why before 10-15 minutes of the session that was going on, there was some contemplation that hit me about light and shadow. So it was very strange. Some subtle realization came in about lights and shadow. I was just thinking about imagining and visual about a shadow. How is a shadow formed? And when the word shadow came in, it represents certain darkness, and it was all about what we discussed now about the elements that we have some tamasic nature, etc. But that's about me or as an individual, we all have that in within us. And the realization that came in was it means that any time when there is a shadow that is existing, it means that light is not in this particular object. Meaning to say, the source of light is not in the object that is creating the shadow. So light is the source of light is from somewhere else, and only when it hits the object, a shadow can be created. So some was that I only reached till here, and then that thought went ahead and it got changed. I was focusing on joining the call, and now when you spoke about when Makali wants to eradicate all the tamasic nature and go towards light or go towards become one with the source of light. I think that explained it covered the entire thought process which I was having, that if there's a shadow, it is only from, if a source of light is from somewhere else, there can be a shadow created between an object. And it means that as me, if I'm representing me as that object, I don't have the source of light within me yet. That's why I'm able to see all these shadows which are falling off. And the journey is about me moving towards and being one with the light. I think that completion of the thought happened once you just finish this discussion. Yeah, thanks.
Very, very beautiful. So, I'll take your thinking forward a little bit. So you see, even when you reach the source of light, and even when you become the light, like Amma is or Ramana was, even then shadows don't disappear. Your shadow has disappeared, but shadows in the world are very much there.
Yeah.
It is like, one particular tree has seen the sun, which produced the shadow, and has become the sun, but lives in the same tree. Ramana living in his body. Body is the tree. Ramana is the sun of consciousness living in that body. So he no longer casts shadows, but he can see other beings casting their shadows. So he feels compassion. And he inspires them to grow their light, so that they too can come from shadow to the tree. When you come from shadow to the tree, you evoke a beautiful quality called self-love. You love yourself, man. Don't hate yourself. You don't drink alcohol and don't smoke cigarettes, okay? You eat good food, you take rest, drink a lot of water, nurture yourself, nourish yourself. The whole world criticizes you, but you still say, no, you're okay, I'm okay, everything is good, all is well. So you come from the shadow, anger, greed, lust, this, that, shadow, to the tree. You come from the wants, redundancies, to the needs, to the tree, which is in existence right now in this lifetime, right? And then from the tree, you start to experience, because love is beautiful, you slowly start to experience love for others, because you love yourself. So you grow in love. So when you grow in love, you can give love, because how can you give what you don't have? So when you grow in love, you can give love, then people reciprocate. And in that process of love, in that chemistry of love, somewhere you start to intuit God's love. That, supreme light is also there somehow in your life. And that love attracts the supreme God light. That has happened to me in my life. Okay. God loves those who love themselves and love everyone. Because God is love ultimately, pure love. That light is love. Okay. Supreme light of God is supreme light of love. Okay. That is what Amma also teaches, right? So Buddha also taught the same thing in different language. If you go beyond the language, they both teach same thing. It will look Buddha is absolutely abstract, Amma is absolutely earthy and telling to do this, do that. But actually both are teaching the same thing actually, if you are enough depth of understanding. So you go from the shadow to the tree, and as you grow the tree in consciousness, you can't grow the tree physically because that is over, right? But you grow the tree in consciousness. The stages of development, which the last video talked about. I'll come to that in a short while. So as you grow in consciousness inside the tree, inside in that body, maturing with age, Erik Erikson, 7 stages, and many other schemas are there. You grow in consciousness, you start intuiting the supreme light of God, the sun shining above. And as you become more and more aware of the sun shining above, by whose light you are animated, the shadows start to vanish, diminish. And as they diminish more and more, you become less heavy initially, less heavy, less heavy, less heavy. Like Herzberg, continuum is, what I'm saying, from very heavy to not heavy anymore, and then lighter, 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 and very light. So from tamas to no tamas, and little bit rajas, and then sattva, sattva, and then you sublimate. That is the journey. So beautiful it is, no? Isn't it beautiful? First say it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Sandeep.
So, I mean, staying with the shadow. So, is there a action required on the part of the sadhak to understand there is, let us say, an anger, a pride, an ego, a lust? I mean, all the qualities, all of these. Is there um, an action that is required? I mean, is it like a tapas, that we would need to let go of an anger, or is it that the awareness that the anger is there, the greed is there, the passion is there. Over a period of time, will that awareness itself, reduce that shadow? I mean, what should a sadhak do when he or she realizes that there is, anger, there is, unnecessary pride in certain actions, that they're taking? What should be the role of the sadhak? How
Yeah,
do you let go?
yeah, beautiful question. Beautiful question. So actually, I am now speaking from my experience. Being a struggler with my own demons for very long. You know, see what happens is that as you become more conscious, which is an indication that light is growing in you. Light and consciousness are the same thing, not two entities. In the Satchidananda schema that I explained last class, Sad is the light and Chid is the consciousness. So as Sad grows, consciousness grows. Now you can ask, how can Sad grow? Sad is the ever fulfilled Brahman. No, Sad is fulfilled in his dimension, but he starts to grow in me. The light starts to grow inside the tree. That is what I think. So, that is why, Balarama was the elder brother, Krishna was the younger brother. Why? Because in chronology, Balarama will take birth first. Krishna cannot take birth randomly. Balarama, Bal, I'm answering Sandeep's question, strength, Rama, to move towards Rama, supreme truth. So with Bal, Balarama moves towards Rama, supreme truth. So what is his weapon? A hull, a plow, with which he plows it into the ground and furrows the ground. So wild beast-like mind, he cultivates and makes into a beautiful, field of crops. Abundantly beautiful qualities of sattva grows in Balarama as he moves towards the supreme truth. And not only that, he makes a canal from Yamuna to the city where they live. So he digs through the earth like Maha Kali, Tamas, connects to Brahman, the source of water. Here, Brahman becomes life-giving waters. It's play with words, but every myth has the same meaning. So as light starts to rush towards, the place where they live, Krishna ultimately takes birth. Because when light grows beyond a certain threshold, Krishna takes birth in the consciousness, in the awareness. You become aware of the supreme light in your bosom somewhere. But Ramana always used to point out that, you are that, just do self-inquiry, just get in touch with that supreme light. Why you bother with all this nonsense? You see. But Ramana was a blessed soul. He had done his sadhana in the past births. We are not so blessed, so we have to strive. Okay, he could simply say like that. But no, we cannot simply say like that. No, you know what I'm saying? So a sadhak, now here for people who are fresh to this terminology, sadhak means someone who wants to wake up, grow his light. Okay, that is what is sadhak. So sadhak comes from the word sadhana. Sadhana means to tame. The horse को साधते हैं, मतलब horse is wild. We tame the horse and make it usable for our use. So like that mind is wild horse, we do the sadhana to tame it into a docile beast so that it obeys our commands and not take us for a ride. Right? This anger and lust and pride and all that are basically the wildness of the mind. So as a sadhak, we are trying to tame the horse, the mind, into becoming a docile beast, useful for us, where it can give us happiness, not misery. Right? So in that process, you see, there is a necessity for ability to bear good pain. What is called titiksha in Sanskrit. There's a word, in Sanskrit called titiksha, which means ability to bear good pain. It's not only endurance. See, endurance may be to bear bad pain also. Or endurance may be to build yourself as a weightlifter or as a marathon runner. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about the ability to bear the good pain, which is necessary to give birth to something grand and glorious. So we want to grapple with the anger or with the pride or with whatever, greed, because we know that these energies are disturbing me of my happiness. They are taking away my happiness. I am an embodiment of divine. I am meant to be happy. That is my birthright. Sad Chid Ananda. Ananda is my nature. And these things rob me of my Ananda. They are like, tenants who have come to your house and now they have lived for so long that they don't want to leave your house. They say, you bloody fool, get lost. Where were you for last 50 years? We are living comfortably for 50 years. Now suddenly you are telling us that you go away. Will not go away. You go away. So your tenants are telling you, get lost, bloody fool. I'm not going away. That is like that. Will they go so quickly or so quietly? So growing in awareness is, you are telling the tenant, Baba, what you are doing is bad. Please leave. No, you are creating bad karma. Your future will be dark. Demons don't listen to that language. They will say, what bloody fool you are talking? What future you are talking? This is the moment now, and I'm enjoying. It is like that. So they will, yes. What happens is that with awareness, you become aware of the root causes of your anger. I'm taking anger as an example. What causes your anger? So you become aware of the root causes. What they call buttons, no, your inner buttons. Now someone presses your inner button, you become angry. Earlier you were only angry, but not aware of the inner button, which someone pressed. For example, you are a perfectionist. Everything has happened perfectly. Now someone does some work clumsily, you erupt in anger. So your button is perfectionism. Someone pressed that and you become angry. But as you become aware of your inner button, that perfectionism, which is producing anger, then what happens? Your anger takes a little bit of a pause. You don't erupt now. You still feel the anger, but you can hold it for a little bit longer and you need not erupt uncontrollably. So initially, in your initial path of the sadhana, you express the anger because it's too strong for you. You have to express it. You express it in a more tempered manner, in a less violent manner, initially, even though you are aware. But as this process happens, you still know that I have succumbed to anger because I'm not strong enough. I'm not deep enough. Storms are brewing in a teacup. I'm a teacup of consciousness, so easily storms arise. But if I were to become an ocean of consciousness, you know what I'm saying? That will be a ripple which you will not even notice. Not that ripples will not happen in an ocean, they will happen. But ocean, I mean, it's majestic and too grand, that it won't disturb it. It will be becoming a play of waves on the surface of the mind. That is the state of Amma and Ramana and such people, Buddha and all. Not that anger has stopped arising in them. That can never happen. They're not dead creatures, right? Anger will arise because anger needs to arise at some moments. Why? Because world is not behaving perfectly. But that anger is sublimated, channelized in a very beautiful manner. And the way we express the anger is so beautiful that the person with whom we express anger changes forever. We are able to touch their heart through anger also. We become an alchemist. We first of all transform our base energy into gold of happiness, and then we start transforming other base metals into gold through our behavior, through our being, through our presence. So, to answer your question, awareness is necessary, but there is a phase when the energy of anger is very strong. You are a wild horse and you want to erupt violently. So there you have to use the reins, no? You have to control. The will is required. You have to grit your teeth a little bit and not erupt immediately. Now to that you create a pause before erupting. In that pause, you are able to creatively think how to express. So it is called respond, not react. Right. So to create that pause, willpower is needed. Awareness not enough. So it is awareness plus will. So Balarama is knowledge plus will. Krishna is awareness plus will. That is the difference between the two. Knowledge is a teacup gaining little bit knowledge. And awareness is the ocean itself. But before the teacup becomes the ocean, in the middle, the journey involves application of tremendous amount of will at all the stages. So it is called Shreyas versus Preyas. So you always know the Shreyas and you always know the Preyas. Erupting is Preyas because you enjoy that anger, right? Because you are powerful, right? You're powerful, hence you can erupt without any fear, right? But you know that that is not good for you and not good for everyone. So you control that. So you choose Shreyas using your will and intelligence and knowledge and slowly increasing awareness. So awareness is certainly very useful. And awareness is useful to even understand that these faculties exist in me. I mean, you know that will exists in you. But to know will as a faculty, what I'm trying to say, it's a very complex idea. Being the will and knowing the will and witnessing the will are three different things. Being the will is ego. Knowing the will is a waking up man. And witnessing the will is enlightened man. So will also becomes a tool in your hand. Krishna is like that. Have I answered your question? I think I have answered very deeply your question, right?
Yes, yes, sir. I mean, I have one follow-up question there as well.
Fine. I'm enjoying this class much more because so many questions are coming, right? Well, that makes it interactive. Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, I mean, again, there are a lot of, Tamil scriptures and other scriptures where, whatever I've read says, I mean, it is also by the will of God is where, the sadhak, I mean, it is the grace of the guru or the will of the God, which allows a sadhak to travel in that particular path or mature. There is this perennial question of where is this individual will versus the supreme, will, right? So even when you are saying that awareness, is important, but at the same time, what is also important is the will. But then the follow-up question is it my will or is it the grace of the guru or, that of the supreme, which is also giving me the power to be aware of that particular will?
Again, very beautiful question, very deep question. I hope everyone follows this question. So the perennial debate between free will and fate he's talking about. And free will and God's control over the universe. I'll ask you a counter question. You are a family man. You have 2 children. You are a multi-millionaire, billionaire. All your wealth belongs to your 2 children. Right. And you see that they are not developing nicely. And you doubt that they will be able to use your wealth properly for their own well-being and for the well-being of society. Won't you feel worried?
Yes, I will, sir.
And won't you try to counsel them?
Certainly.
But will they always listen to you?
No.
That is how God is. God is not a dictator. God is our parent. And as a parent, he feels exactly the way Sandeep will feel about his 2 children who are going on wild paths. So he also counsels us through the voice of our inner conscience, right? But do we always listen? So we don't listen. So what can God do? What can Sandeep do when children are going further? You watch helplessly. So God watches helplessly. Right? Now a major disservice which excessive bhakti has done to society is to export God to beyond the heavens and taken the karma yoga out of the equation. But if you go to Bhagavad Gita, Karma Yoga is also part of the path. God Almighty was Krishna. Do you agree?
Yes.
He tried to convince Duryodhana to give the promised kingdom, then 5 villages at least, which is very
Yes.
bare minimum. He says, I will not give even land equivalent to the tip of a needle. So God Almighty, you see, failing in convincing, no? He was trying to convince a wild child. Duryodhana is his child only. But did he listen to his dad? No. Have I answered your question?
Yes.
So it is not like that. God is not a dictator. God is a teacher. God is an inspirer. God is an influencer. God comes as Amma. God comes as Krishna. God comes as a great teacher that you may meet along your journey. But do you listen to God? It's like clap. God and you, teacher and you. Right? That is a clap. Life is a clap. Shiva Shakti is a clap. Shiva is God, Shakti is you. Energy is Shakti, right? What are you? Mass. No? Your mass, right? And mass is energy. E is equal to mc square. So Shiva Shakti ek rupini namama says. In all the Rahu Sani Puja, she will end with that. Why? Because ultimately the solution to all problems is only seeing Shiva and Shakti as one. Shiva is teaching something, you learn, no child. Why you are behaving wildly? That is what she is telling. She is imploring again and again. Everyone. God has come as a man. She is imploring. She is not ordering. You know what I'm saying? So it is just that because she has come, she is creating conditions where you can see the Prime Minister of the country bows to her. G20 recognizes her as the chairman of C20. You can see her powers manifesting through the way she is influencing the worldly affairs. Haramla Bharatan became the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. You know what I'm saying? So you can see the avatars when they come, they influence society through influencing, not through ordering. Dictatorship is not the way of the God. It is influencing. It's the influence of a parent, loving parent. Maha Kali, in her eyes, if you see deeply, it is not anger. She kills in compassion, not in anger. She kills you in compassion because you will damage your soul even more if she doesn't kill you now. That accident which I referred to was meant to end a very, very unproductive life from karmic perspective. She is Maha Kali, no? So she will have to pay the fruits of your actions also. So she says it is too much, child, enough damage. Out of compassion, she says you are digging a deeper ditch for yourself. Let me save you. Let me kill you. But you will not listen to me. So let me finish you off. You just lie down in my womb for some time. We'll apply balm, massage and all that, and then we'll send you again. Okay, it's like that. Are you satisfied, Sandeep?
Yes.
You want to go even deeper?
No, I'm fine, sir.
We'll go deeper later. For the time being, it's enough, right? So I have to revisit a little bit what we did in the last class. So we saw that video, right? 7 stages of enlightenment. So I hope you remember and all of you have watched. So for the sake of those who have not watched, I will replay the video, the relevant part where I want to start. It is, and so I'll share my screen. And I forgot how to share. I'm very bad with technology. Can you hear and see the video?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will go forward in this video where I want to join today's class.
Well, sort of. Anyone at any time can intuit any state whatsoever, including the state of enlightenment. This is because the enlightenment state is both natural and inherent to us. As the Zen Buddhists say, enlightenment is ordinary mind. Therefore, it is possible for anyone, even someone with extreme psychopathologies, and or developmental aberrations to intuit the state of enlightenment. However, it is suggested by the relationship between states and stages that a person with such psychopathologies would not be able to truly recognize the enlightened state, nor would they be able to stably abide in that state. Instead, what seems to happen is that they swing wildly between the intuited higher state and maladapted psychopathic states. There are many examples of people throughout history who may fit this description. Charles Manson may have been one of them. This may explain his reported charisma and how that charisma was able to convince others to do terrible and abhorrent deeds. It may also explain why some of Manson's seemingly insane utterances, when placed against those of enlightened sages and saints, often share a very disconcerting similarity. This compilation in the human stages of development, combined with a deep intuition of higher spiritual states, may explain the oft-reported antisocial behavior of some self-proclaimed spiritual teachers. Ken Wilber, the Einstein of consciousness.
So one thing which I want to address was this particular observation that, in this video, that even a psychopath can gain enlightenment. And if enlightenment is so beautiful, then how is psychopathy possible? So this is one doubt, or so-called false gurus, who go about doing all kinds of nonsense and then bring the whole spiritual path into disrepute. So that is one phenomenon I wanted to explain, because this video talks about stages and states. That there are states of consciousness and there are stages of development of the particular person who is going to embody these states. So what is the idea? A state is something that you embody. State is something that you embody. And stage is something which prepares you and enables you that you can embody that. For example, let's say that it will come further in the video, you do a lot of tapas, sadhana, you grow a lot, grow your light a lot. And one day you are able to read other people's minds. You are able to hear things at far. You are able to see things from far. Because these capacities exist in the mind. So, will that experience drive you crazy? Or will that experience be sitting lightly in you? Will depend upon what stage of development you have attained. That is why nature is very cautious, or God is very cautious. I think nature is a better word here. Nature is very cautious. She doesn't bestow higher states of awareness on lower stages of consciousness, because that is dangerous. So I wanted to caution you about one thing. But what happens is that because of man's impatience, these days, I have become CEO, I want to become enlightened now. It's that kind of a mad world, okay? And it's about achievement. Look at me, I'm so powerful, I'm so rich and so famous, so I can attain. I can sing very well, hence I can become enlightened. It's like that. It's madness. They don't understand what they're talking about. So what happens is that all kinds of fake gurus move about telling that we'll awaken the Kundalini, or we'll awaken you, or we'll give you enlightenment, you just follow me. And then they attract, millions of followers. And they blatantly tell everyone, yes, I can make you enlightened, anyone and everyone. And they have tremendous amount of charisma, tremendous amount of occult powers also. Okay, because in this path at some stage, occult powers also may awaken. And using those powers, they impress people. But one fundamental problem with them is that they have not yet gotten rid of their shadow. They have not yet purified their consciousness, the deeper levels of the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind. So tamas is still lurking at the deeper levels. And in psychopathic cases, what has happened is that because of some influence somewhere, which is artificial in nature, which is violent in nature, someone somewhere has managed to awaken their Kundalini prematurely and opened a higher chakra than what they are ready for. And that is what happens to psychopaths. So this video is not very accurate. This video is filled with fallacious knowledge. The person who is making it itself is not enlightened. So hence, I have to help you. So, I mean, don't take everything what they're saying as if it's 100% true. It's not very true. It's only half true. It's half-baked knowledge. Okay. And that is what happens when you read a lot. When you read a lot, you become very confused people. Okay. Because you start mixing many different typologies into the same thing. Because ultimately this path is experiential. It is not intellectual. It is experiential. You grow in light experientially. And like an alchemist, you transform your consciousness experientially. It happens bit by bit. It's a beautiful process. When we understand the relation between stage and state, we should not crave for states of consciousness which we cannot wield. Our system will collapse. It's not capable to hold that. So we build slowly upwards till we are able to hold that. In the last 10 years of my life, many nights I have not slept. 75% of the nights I have not slept. Can you believe me? So it's not a very easy path. It is not meant for faint-hearted. Okay. So because as energy start to shift upwards, it demands that you modify your lifestyle. You surrender more and more, which will come next. Okay. So I'll play the video again. And so I wanted to make this one observation, and then I'll go forward in the video.
Theory offers a developmental model in a single framework of the journey from archaic consciousness to ultimate spirit, i.e. God or ultimate reality. Today, Wilber's integral theory has been taken up not only by those with a did not wipe out molecules, but included them into a greater order of development occurs by transcending and including. Integral theory has been taken up not only by those with a spiritual practice.
You can hear and see now the video.
Yes, sir.
I can hear and see, but please let me know from where I need to.
The voice is breaking.
Attention.
I just want yes, no. You can see, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Also by many companies and even governmental agencies. Wilber's guiding principles of integral theory are: evolution of development occurs by transcending and including, not by erasing what came before. For example, the evolution to the developmental level of a single-cell organism did not wipe out molecules, but included them into a greater order of complexity. This pattern of evolution and/or development occurs with all phenomena. Rational thought does not eliminate emotion, but includes it into a great developmental level of consciousness. Industrial societies did not wipe out agriculture, but transcended agriculture into greater levels of efficiency and prosperity. Human or spiritual development requires that we include and integrate all previous stages into something greater, not by wiping out the previous stage.
So this was one point where I wanted to make some observations. So this is a very important point, that when we grow in our development, I mean in our stages, each successive stage, I'm talking about harmonious development. When development happens organically and harmoniously, not in an unhealthy manner. This Charles Manson example was an unhealthy development. Someone wants to jump, one of the participants, Hemant, had asked, how to grow faster. There is no way to grow faster. It's impossible, it's dangerous. Okay. Only way to grow is to grow organically and grow slowly at God's pace. The way the plant grows, the way the tree grows, the way the humans grow, physically. Everything happens bit by bit, very slowly. It has to be like that. A teacher or a guru can only speed up the process little bit, not very much. A good teacher will not speed up too fast because it won't be sitting peacefully with the person's psyche. Each one of us is not at the same level in terms of preparation. So that is why stages and states are related. Ramana was at a very high stage of consciousness. Hence, he simply embodied that state, simply as if nothing happened. But what he's talking about is so high up that it is beyond our imagination. But he was able to simply embody that state. It has not come in a single lifetime. It's very clear to me. Many, many lifetimes of intense sadhana has prepared him for that level of development where he can very simply embody that. It requires tremendous intellectual maturity, emotional integrity, and physical fearlessness. Anxiety has completely been wiped out from the consciousness. Okay, and that's not a small thing. How many of us are not anxious at all? Okay, so he is sitting at a very Himalayan peak of consciousness, and at that stage, obviously, he wakes up very simply. But for the rest of us, it happens slowly, bit by bit, bit by bit. And stages and states are very much important to always keep in mind. It's one idea. Second idea was that at every subsequent stage of development, the previous stage is not left behind. It is integrated into a beautiful blend. It's like the way you make a flower, no? As you draw each petal, the flower becomes more complete. That's a good metaphor. So it's like that. So, as consciousness matures more and more, new facets get added. And each facet represents a higher stage, You can imagine a three-dimensional flower, not two-dimensional, three-dimensional flower, which is like multi-layered. Spiral, no? You can imagine a spiral, and around the spiral, a flower is growing. So spiral is representing the development of stages, and flower is the flowering of consciousness. Maha Kali becoming Maha Lakshmi, filled with abundance and glorious things. In Sri Vidya, Maha Lakshmi is the goddess. So in Sri Vidya, you become an awakened being, and I believe Amma is the supreme embodiment of the Sri Vidya. That is the difference between the hardcore non-dualists of Advaita Vedanta and the beautiful spirituality which it is meant to be, which God means it to be. Advaita Vedanta is one level lower than where spirituality ends. It is not about intellectually or experientially realizing that Brahman is real and world is Maya. That is still not enlightenment. That is still duality. Because you see God and his creation as two. What you call Brahman is actually God. And what you call Maya is actually his creation. Now, what kind of a creator will like it when you will despise his creation? You see what I'm saying? And it's a creation where God has given himself up, body, heart and soul. He not only creates, he comes and sits inside the creation. Creator has become the creation. Does Sachit think that he is someone else other than Sachit? How it is possible? But is Sachit not God? He is God, very much God. But God imagines himself to be Sachit in Sachit. And that is the beauty of this path. This whole Leela, it is called Leela. Okay. And there is no way for me to convince Sachit that he is not Sachit. It is madness. So what will happen to Sachit is that Sachit will become a more beautiful Sachit, more wonderful Sachit, more complete Sachit, more loving Sachit, more powerful Sachit, more humble Sachit, more open Sachit, more lovable Sachit, more giving Sachit, more abundant Sachit, more kind Sachit, more inspirational Sachit, capable of waking up the whole planet. That is the path. Are you with me? So, as you develop each stage, you include the previous stage, but at the same time, you transcend it. It's like, you wanted lollipop as a child, but now you see it's a child wants lollipop, let me give him lollipop. But you also enjoy the lollipop. It's not that you don't enjoy the lollipop, but you're not obsessed with lollipops anymore. You can see higher things than lollipops. Are you following me? So that is another point I wanted to make. I'll go back to the video again, okay? Wherever I feel relevant to make comments, I'll make comments, okay?
Hilber's integral theory, while very useful, is also extremely comprehensive and well beyond the scope of this video, even in a fundamental form. However, Wilbur has acknowledged that he was very much influenced in his formation of integral theory by the
Now listen very carefully. This is where I want to make my comment about the 7 stages. Okay, because this is very important. And it is not very important because this is the be all and end all. Let me caution you. I am just starting this. There are multiple more frameworks to come. It is one framework. Are you following me? It is not a Bible or something like that. But we have to understand this framework because it's useful. Okay. Okay.
7 stages of life as taught and communicated by the late spiritual teacher Sri Adida Samraj. Adida's 7 stages of life offers a much more succinct model of the human and spiritual evolutionary process necessary to any kind of spiritual development or practice. The 7 stages that lead to enlightenment. What is the total process of human growth? This schema of the 7 stages of life starts with birth and moves through 7 stages all the way to enlightenment. It is offered here as a guide that may be of help to anyone who wishes to understand a stages or states approach to spiritual practice. The fundamental points are: all human life develops potentially in 7 stages. The first 3 stages are the stages of human functions, i.e. the physical, emotional and mental. The 4th stage is the stage of feeling surrender as the sense of separate self to Source, God or mind, and marks the start of spiritual life.
So, I'll take a pause here and explain. So, you see, for most humans, and when I say most, I mean everyone, including everyone, even presidents and prime ministers and Nobel laureates. Okay. Everyone is everyone, excluding very few, which you can count on fingers, or maybe few hundreds, maybe few thousands, not more than that, on the whole planet. Get stuck in the first 3 stages. Okay. So the first 3 stages, I know it will explain later. So let me run through the video again. So I just wanted to make this introductory remark and then we'll come again. Okay, what it means, I'll explain later. Let us run through the 7 stages first. Okay.
The 5th stage is that of spiritual ascent into the mind and psyche, and may include mystical experiences of all kinds. For some, this can be a rather brief stage, depending on the degree of psychic material held by the person. The 6th stage is that of ego death, or the transcendence of mind and the sense of separate self. The stage can be experienced often quite easily as a state not recognized or stabilized by the achievement of a stage, convincing one of the non-necessity of growth through stages. The 7th stage is that of full enlightenment. Though there are 7 stages of natural human growth represented here, most humans stop growing in the first 3 stages. Most humans remain complicated in the first 3 stages of life and do not even successfully complete the first 3 stages. These complications, or stunting of our natural growth through the first 3 stages, shows itself, according to Adida, in dysfunctionality, often manifested in extreme forms as addictions, in 3 primary arenas of life: money, food, sex. If one's energy and attention is captured by those 3 arenas of life, if one has not realized a natural, easy and non-addicted functionality in all those areas of life, one will not have the free energy and attention necessary to begin a spiritual practice. The first 3 stages of life usually take up the first 21 years of a person's life. First stage, 0 to 7. Individuation. Child successfully individuates from the mother. Child enjoys conscious relatedness to all others and nature. Signs of the completion of the first stage of life: individuation, socialization, cooperation, and sensitivity to nature. Second stage, 7 to 14. Socialization. Development of sensitivity to etheric energy, to existence, to others, and to nature. Development of socialization or optimal relationship to others via a feeling sensitivity to the etheric dimension and one's effect on others. Signs of the completion of the second stage of life: can associate responsibly, positively, and relationally with others. Third stage, 14 to 21. Integration. Adaptation to the psychic dimension of existence. Development of the will, the thinking mind, and the psyche. Signs of the completion of the third stage of life: fully prepared physically, emotionally, ethically, physically, and mentally, and with enough free energy and attention, not caught up in money, food, or sex, to enter into real spiritual practice.
Yeah, so 1 second, I will just go a little bit back. Yeah. So this is a very significant statement, and we can take a pause. Now we can discuss. So, first 21 years of life, and coincidentally, 21 is supposed to be the age when we become an adult. Earlier, I think in India, we were declared adults at age 21. So, adolescence is just about to be over at that age, and we are supposed to have developed sufficiently emotionally and intellectually to be able to be called an adult. So we are like, assumed to be a free thinking individual with our own paradigm of life. We can take our own decisions, generally speaking. So here, these first three stages have been described very poorly. I mean, it's a very lousy description. Okay. It is not like that, except for a few things here and there. I think someone who has made it has read enormous amounts without integrating a lot in very experiential way. So I will give you my interpretation. The first stage is now 0 to 7, where the child basically individuates. What it means? The child, I mean the infant, was in the mother's womb. So it was a part of the mother. It has come from the mother. The mother's body has given birth to the child. In a way, mother's body has become the child. Okay, and father's contribution also is there in terms of DNA. But mother's is more. Now, when the child comes out of the womb, still there's a fusion of consciousness between the mother and the child. A lot of people have researched this, and it is proven now scientifically. Psychology believes that child and mother are one, till age 2 or till age 3. In India, there are different sanskaras which are done at different ages. So one sanskara is when the child is separated from the mother. I forget the name of that, that ritual, but it is celebrated still in many parts of the country. And that represents the stage where child has become individuated, in the sense that child can now think of itself as separate from mother. But till that age, child feels oneness with the mother. Literally, there is a fusion of consciousness. Child thinks he and or she and mother are one. Okay. It is not even symbiotic. It is much deeper than that. It's actual oneness. So, and not only that, when infants are very young, like a few days to a few months young, they feel oneness with the whole world. I remember my friend's son, when he was small, he had come to us. I mean, they had come to our family. We invited them for a lunch. A ball had gone away, little bit, and he was calling the ball to come. A ball will not come to him, no? What that gesture tells me, he was like maybe 10, 11 months or 1 year old. Toddler, playing with ball. Ball has gone a little bit away. He's calling the ball. He feels the ball will come to him. That is, evidence of oneness of this person. And in fact, they know this person. There is oneness only. Okay. I don't know how to put it in words. You know what I mean? It's something which is impossible to put in words. It's an inner state that the ball will come. Okay. It's like that. But at some stage, the infant starts to become a person. starts to feel the boundary of his physical body, the skin, that I am bounded by this skin and I am inside this skin. Child is not thinking in words, but it is experiencing. I am saying it in words. You follow what I'm saying? It's only an inner experience. So the child gets separated from the mother experientially, starts to feel his body as his body, and starts to feel the world as outside, starts to feel the mother as outside. And that is the first significant milestone in the development of personality. Okay. Then child learns language. So the 7 is not one continuum. There are many shades and many layers and facets there. So which I can teach better through astrology actually, but it is difficult through. But still I'll try. So at a certain stage, what happens in the brain, the faculty develops of identifying objects and their utility, identifying objects and their qualities as useful or dangerous or abhorrent or likable. Then, little bit later, an ability develops to produce sounds which are meaningful. The phonetics develops, ability for phonetics develops, and we start to listen to what mother, father, brother, sister are talking and start picking words, syllables, and start uttering those things. Mama, papa, dada, nana, those things, and slowly those words become sentences before you realize. Then sentences become paragraphs by the age 4, 3, 4, 5, and the child can start to communicate. That is a very magical stage where objects become names. That cup becomes CUP, right? That tumbler becomes TUMBLER. That apple becomes APPLE. You know what I'm saying? Objects start to take names. Forms become names. And these names go in the mind. What we call object relations theory in theories of personality. So the object is outside, but the word is a magic symbol for that object. I think apple and I see apple in my mind, right? So that is a very magical stage. When the world becomes alive with name and form, or names and forms, it becomes very interesting, magical, mystical world. And this world can fulfill many needs. And this world is also filled with dangers. The child learns through experiences. Fire can burn, like that. So slowly, or mangoes are very juicy and very delicious. So slowly, by the age 7, the child completes that stage where, it starts going out of the house, starts to go to play school, nursery, KG, forms friendships at school. New teachers come in life apart from parents who are again adorable elders, hopefully, if they're wonderful teachers. So, your world expands by the age 7, and you are also a little bit socializing. And the value of cooperating and, reciprocating. There's a quid pro quo. If I give, the others give. If I acknowledge, they acknowledge me. Right? And they also learn when to cry, when not to cry. Little bit discrimination also starts. When mother will respond to me, when she will not respond to me, when she is busy. How to relate to father, how to relate to brother, sister, friends, etc. You learn how to dress up, take bath, go to the bathroom on your own, etc., etc. All these multiple, there are very huge, fascinating, series of stages which happen in this first 7 years of life. But at age 7, you have become basically a wonderful child, now ready for the next stage, which is the emotional integration into the society. So anyway, the second stage, 7th to 14, is the emotional development. Physical also, body is growing explosively. But at the same time, emotional development also happens at that stage. You form friendships. You learn the norms of the culture where you taken birth, traditions. You realize you're Hindu and not a Muslim, or a Muslim and not a Christian. And that there was a Jesus Christ and there was a Rama and Krishna and all that. You are downloaded all the folklore of your native tradition, wherever you are. In Sweden, Swedish folklore, and in America, American folklore, whatever it is. I'm not talking about any country, but that process is taking place. You become an Indian, no? Between age 7 to 14. Before that, you are not an Indian. I mean, in your consciousness, you become an Indian. You love India. India is an idea only, ultimately. Right? So, so by age 14, you are a very deeply socialized, emotionally socialized being. But you are not yet mature in your intellectual thinking. So, age 15 to 21 is supposed to be the stage where the maximum development happens. Physically, again, explosive growth. Completion of the physical growth happens. But at the same time, the mind becomes very important. The thinking faculty becomes very important. You go to higher classes, you grapple with more complex theories in school, higher algebra, higher mathematics, calculus and stuff. And you start to understand many things, you do many projects, you can actually execute things, and you can actually think about issues, Article 370 or whatnot. You become an intellectual creature also, and you understand, you have your own opinions about many things, your own ideologies. And by age 21, you're supposed to be an adult. And generally, it is believed that the process would complete at that point of time. But unfortunately, because idea is that once you become an adult, fully grown adult, you have become an adult. You can now play the role, assigned to you in the society. But it doesn't happen like that. Very few people are lucky enough to become a fully developed adult. Most people remain little bit childish only. They don't develop fully into an adult. That is again where stages and states are relevant. We cannot crave higher states of consciousness before completing the lower stages of development. It is only a fully mature adult who qualifies to be even looked at by God. God will not even look at you till that stage. Because what will God do with you? God is the greatest teacher ever in the universe. And you are a bloody fool. So what will God do with you? Whatever God will say or do, you will distort and misinterpret only. You will fight in the name of Islam and Hinduism and whatnot. You will, all kinds of, I don't want to go into controversy basically, because it will be put on YouTube. But you behave in a very idiotic manner. And big mullahs and maulvis and popes and whatnot, and gurus and all will be, mouthing venom from their mouth, hatred from their mouth, blaming each other, which shows how childish the consciousness is still. And they are leaders of their community. So if leaders are at that stage, you can imagine about the community. So that is what we are seeing on earth everywhere. And here now, this was one meaningful para what they have written. Physically, emotionally, okay. Ethically is the key word. Ethically is the key word. Without ethical development never becomes complete. And that is what the world doesn't understand today. In astrology, this ethical development is represented by Jupiter, the Devaguru. It starts with Sagittarius, 9th house out of 12 houses. Okay. And the 8th house is death. I will teach you that also. Why? Because not to make you an astrologer, but to help you understand life in its complete complexity. Because astrology is called Jyotisha. Jyotisha means Jyoti of the Isha. Isha is God. So how the God's brain functions, you can see through astrology. Because it is Jyotisha. So how God has constructed the universe and what is the pathway through which the soul develops is very much evident through astrology. Okay, so for me, astrology was always a tool to understand the soul's journey, never to predict anything. Why? Because what is there to predict? 100 years from now, none of us will be alive. It's already, I can predict, any fool can predict that. So what is there to predict? That is not the beauty of life. It's only a play, we die and we take birth again. But what happens in that lifetime, what interests me? The development of consciousness. So what God wants me to do, that is what astrology has taught me. Okay, as a soul. So it's called 108 steps of Vishnu. There are 27 nakshatras. Each nakshatra has 4 padas. So 27 into 4 is 108. So it's called 108 steps of Vishnu before Vishnu becomes Krishna, a supremely enlightened being. So the idea is Vishnu is the God seed. Krishna is the God tree. Is God seed enough? Is God seed enough? I give you a mango seed. Can you eat it? You want a mango tree from where? No, you can farm quintals of mangoes, no, in the season, right? So that is how it is. So each one of us is a God seed. But each one of us is caught up in the shadow, as Sachit so beautifully described. So much so that we don't even love the tree anymore. This physical tree we don't love anymore. We ruin it with all kinds of nonsensical habits. Am I making some connections or I'm talking randomly? Can I hear some responses?
So we are able to connect. I mean, I'm able to connect.
Okay. Everyone is with me?
Yes, sir. We are with you.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, sir.
So this ethical dimension is very important. And the world has forgotten that. There was a beautiful word called character in psychology also. In the early 20th century, a very famous American psychologist, he removed the word character from the lexicon of psychology. Okay, why? Because when you talk about character, you talk about morality. And he felt that morality is not the subject of psychology. Morality is prescriptive and psychology is descriptive. And that was the tremendous mistake, the most historically most dangerous mistake ever made. And because of that one mistake, we are paying the penalty. Because the West has gone mad. And I'm talking about the predominant Western ideology of materialism, consumerism, give me more and give me now. That is Rahu. It has only the mouth and the head, but no tummy. So can't digest, can't assimilate, but wants more. But why you want more, doesn't know. I want more money, I want more sex, I want more food, I want more this, more that. But why you want when you don't have a tummy? Because you will never be fulfilled. So you become a black hole. It is ethical sense which satisfies you, which gives you real happiness. When a mother cares for the child, she is being ethical. Do you understand? She is following her dharma. And that is why she feels so happy caring for the child. That police officer who fights for his job and never takes a single penny as a bribe is being very, very dharmic, is being very ethical. And people think how he can be like that. Why he doesn't get tempted? Because he's getting the real happiness from dharma. So Devaguru Brihaspati gives the real happiness. And the demon guru Venus, which gives you all kinds of the materialistic enjoyment, doesn't give you real happiness. Gives you addictions only ultimately. So if you want an addicted lifestyle, that is what West has done to people. Made them addicted to more and more consumption. And consumption means happiness. And more money means more consumption. And if you don't have money, don't worry, we'll give you loan. You want to buy a car, we'll give you money. Don't worry, come, buy. And then you pay EMI, okay, whole life. So that is how they have structured the society. It has become a very physical, very materialistic type of lifestyle. And in that rat race, those who have more physically that we can see are the more successful ones. So see, the whole world has become crazy. And that has created an infinite loop in which people are caught up in a perennial childhood. Because without ethical dimensions development, how can you ever become an adult? I'm asking you. what it means to be an adult. An adult means to give birth and to groom the new life. How are you going to do that without ethical development? What kind of role model you will be to your children? Which is your dharma? To show them what it means to be an exemplary human. So without ethical development, how can you do that? And how can you die peacefully? That I have played my role. It is time to say bye. So today what happens? You die in pain, you die in fear, frantically clinging to life in a hospital, spending 20 lakh rupees. And doctors are waging a war against death. It is not needed. You have done your dharma. Now die gracefully, die peacefully. Just disappear, man. Your child's time now, grandchild's time now to play. You have played enough. Now you go and retire. That is how life is meant to be. Death is not frightening. Death is beautiful. You will again get new clothes. You will play a new role. God will again give you a new role, but He will give you now a better role because you are now a better actor. That is the way life should go on, right? But that is not how the world thinks. So in Indian conception, dharma artha kama moksha. Dharma was to refine the intellect, to refine the consciousness and contribute to society. So society also is happy, you also develop, you also are happy, and it's win, 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 win everywhere. And the normal standards of ethics are very high. So people can trust. You see what I'm saying? So a criminal is a very rarity. You need very modicum amount of policing, not very high amount of policing, not micromanagement, for God's sake. Not intrusion into people's privacy, which is happening enormously today. Why you are so much interested in me? Because you love me? No, you love my money. Isn't it? Because everyone is a market today. And every other person is a marketeer today. But when we are marketing everything to everyone, we ourselves get, exported to hell, okay? In our inside. Okay, that is what is happening today. So, this is a very important point. So, ethical development. And psychical, mental, basically, mental is your ability to think rationally and take judicious decisions, taking into account every facet of the situation that you face. Raj, you wanted to ask something, I just noticed.
No, sir, I just acknowledged what you said about everyone is a market and every other person is a marketeer. And end of the day, we go towards hell. So I really like that.
Yeah, okay. So moving forward, so now it will tell, sorry, I clicked here. Okay, yeah.
Caught up in money, food or sex to enter into real spiritual practice. The spiritual stages, from the fourth stage to enlightenment or open eyes. These first three stages are the stages of human growth, which prepare us to take up the fourth stage or the beginning of the stages of spiritual growth. This movement from the third stage, the completion of human maturity, to the fourth stage, the beginning of spiritual growth, is the primary crisis for most of those who wish to begin spiritual practice. The fourth stage is foundational for the spiritual stages that follow. The fourth stage is the practice of feeling surrender as the sense of separate self to your higher power, to consciousness, to awareness, to source, to reality, to God. It is not to identify oneself as source, consciousness, awareness, reality or God. Rather, it is to feelingly surrender one's body and mind and sense of separate self to source, consciousness, awareness, reality or God. The fourth stage is a devotional practice of God apart, referred to in Hinduism as bhakti. The fourth stage is the necessary foundation stage of the fifth, sixth, and ultimately the full enlightenment of the seventh stage of life. It is important to note that it is the body-mind that is the medium of spiritual transformation, not merely the mind. As one feelingly surrenders body and mind and the sense of separate self ever more deeply, one begins to show emotional and psychic signs which may open up one's psychic dimension. The fifth stage is the realm of shamans and shamanistic practices. The fifth stage may be a very brief stage for some people, depending on the degree of psychic material to be surrendered. The sixth stage is when one realizes their identity with Source, consciousness, awareness, reality or God, and now purified through the feeling surrender of the body and mind and the sense of separate self, can now recognize their true identity and abide as that stably. The seventh stage is the overcoming or growing out of the error of the sixth stage, which is to identify exclusively as Source, consciousness, awareness, reality or God, at the exclusion of the world of appearances. In the seventh stage of life, both oneself and the world is recognized as Source, consciousness, awareness, reality or God. The seventh stage is Sahaj Samadhi, or open eyes, in which everything is seen as nothing but the radiance of God.
So, I'll very quickly run through this stage 4 to 7. So, stage 4 is the stage where surrender happens. Now, what is the surrender? The surrender is that, you see, till the third stage, and I'm talking about those who are now fit enough to be introduced to higher existence. Because most people think that worldly success and worldly reputation and fame and money is the be all and end all of life. But it is not like that. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you just think and imagine yourself, let's say that no God forbid, but suppose I die today, nothing will happen to the world. I mean, I'm too insignificant and too small and too puny to really, to really influence the world by my departure. No one will notice. Maybe a few people will cry for me, but my relatives and my wife and children. But ultimately, I'm a very, very small, puny little being as a physical entity. Isn't it? So we have to recognize that as a fact of life. Each one of us is only one unit of life, and life is so vast and so gigantic. So that keeps us humble, right? So a really grown-up adult, a mature adult, is a very humble and open and receptive adult. He knows a lot. He is the apex of humanity, because completing 3 stages is not that easy. Here, people like Abraham Lincoln and Mahatma Gandhi and Mandela are sitting in the epitomes of humanity, perfect humans. Okay. But they become fit for introduction to the God's terrain, because they have played their dharma to the best of their abilities, and there is not a single bone in their body which is corrupt. They're morally very sound, and that moral soundness, that purity of intention, because there are two things: intention, ability. Ability can be less or more. That is okay. That can grow with time. God doesn't mind that. But intention has to be pure. So when you become a very complete adult, at that level your intention has become pure. You want to play your role perfectly as much as possible. As a parent, as a member of society, as a person working in the organization, as a manager in the organization, as a teacher in the college, whatever role you are playing, as a child to your parents, as citizens, you play your role perfectly. And the intention is to play it perfectly, without any ulterior motive. And it is then that the divine connection, synchronicity happens. Synchronicity starts happening at that stage. What we have discussed in the last 2 classes. And synchronicities proliferate, they increase, they attract your attention. That something larger is taking interest in you. Okay, and slowly that larger entity, God, divine, whatever, puts you in different places where you grow much faster. Like I coming from it as an example. You grow faster means not in terms of money, in terms of spiritual, inner consciousness. You grow much faster. The conditions are perfect for your growth. And then, and you feel in your inside heart that something is guiding you. But you see, anxiety and doubt are always a weakness that most humans have. We always have fear of uncertainty, fear of the future. We all have. At third stage, we are not transcended, isn't it? Am I right? Am I right? Yes, no? So, yes. So, this fourth stage, we are being prepared to drop our doubt and anxiety. And we are being prepared to cultivate faith in the ultimate wisdom of God and His ultimate compassion. The fastest way to grow spiritually is to surrender to God's will and not resist or fight it. But to surrender that to that God's will requires immense amount of maturity and power of observation. One has to be very observant to see the divine influence in one's life. Even though a crisis will come, and each crisis will prepare you for a higher level of consciousness. But in hindsight, you will see that crisis which came, without that crisis, you could not have grown to the next level. So at that fourth level, it becomes a beautiful play between the devotee and the God. Devotee is surrendering to God, and God is taking him in more and more and more and more and more into his way of life. So that is the fourth stage. It requires immense amount of courage, an immense amount of love for God, an immense amount of faith in His goodness to surrender. Because ego will tell, no, this is madness, don't do that. You will lose this much money, you will lose that much money, but nothing doing. You will see something is prompting you in that direction. Huge number of synchronicities are happening, they're pointing you in that direction. But God is never defeated. You don't take that path, you are the sufferer. But if you take the plunge, and He will prepare you by cultivating faith in you. And how faith awakens in you is through miracles. A series of miracles will happen in your life. When when you will feel lost, suddenly a divine intervention will come, and it will happen repeatedly. Repeatedly, you will never become billionaire, but you will always be having enough, and you will be enjoying the process. And you will understand that scarcity also teaches a lot, adversity also teaches a lot, and crisis also teach a lot. And you become very courageous, very resilient, and slowly you become very faithful. And perfect faith is like Prahlad's faith. Prahlad and Hiranyakasipu story is there. That is an example of perfect bhakti, perfect surrender. Whatever the problem, he just says, "Oh, Bhag Vishnu." Okay, and his father could do nothing to him. Absolutely nothing, despite being a king and powerful king. So when you are absolute surrender, there is absolute protection of God. But it is like, duet dance, how much you can surrender. So, so devotees like Ramakrishna, for example, Paramahansa, they have become legendary people, right? So for him, Kali is not something artificial. Kali is a real person for him. Okay. So that level of surrender is very difficult, but then that's the initial stage. Then as you prepare through surrender, what happens is that now God knows that you are more receptive. So He starts to come to you through psychic experiences, in dreams, visions, clairvoyance. Suddenly you get an intuition, this is going to happen, that happens. And all kinds of intuitions start. You say something, that happens. Many things. You start, when you meditate, you can see many things which normal people can't even imagine. You start to get very amazing insights into the world, into the universe, into whichever subject you are interested in. I think to a large extent Einstein was in stage 5. Okay. Many great scientists also in stage 5. They are called geniuses. And then that is psychic stage. Then stage 6 is even beyond that, when you go through that whole terrain of psyche and you start to merge or rather emerge in the source. which is Brahman, God, Supreme. So at stage 6, you know God and you know that you are God, but you cannot play God. Why? Because still psychic material is to be surrendered more. More work is needed. Shadow still is there, lurking inside somewhere. Okay. And then at stage 6, most people don't succeed in realizing this. They think they have arrived and they think they are enlightened. And many of them start teaching. And then they go to America and they were a celibate whole life. And then suddenly they see beautiful girls falling over them. And then their celibacy, vanishes. And next thing you know, they become a sexual pervert. Because pent up energy will explode, body will take its toll. It's revenge, no? You ignore the body for so long, so body will take its revenge, and then it will knock you down from the high pedestal. That is why in a beautiful harmonious spiritual development, we ignore nothing. We grow all facets of our being. And nothing is ugly and nothing is repulsive. Neither sex, nor money, nor food, nor nothing. Nor video game, nor movies, nothing is repulsive. Everything is included and transcended at a higher stage of growth. So the 7th stage, what happens is that first of all, at 6th stage, okay, I personally feel I am at 6th stage, okay, moving towards 7th by surrendering more and more consciously. And my whole life has prepared me by, giving me opportunities to teach such things only, whole life. There is a personality, astrology, homeopathy, all these are preparing me to understand that shadow is inside. Okay. So at 6th stage, you surrender more and more of your shadow so that more and more light can come. And as more and more light can come, more and more bliss and more beauty and harmony and love. What else you want? That is nirvana, that is moksha, vaikuntha. Supreme enlightenment, supreme peace, love, joy, happiness. A happiness which is nuclear in nature, like atom bomb of happiness. It's ecstasy, it's bliss. Ecstasy is a lower thing, it's bliss. It's ultimately it becomes like, just pure light of love. Engulfs the whole universe. And you are that light. And everything floats in you. You are God now. And suddenly you realize God is not a person. God was always you only, which was imagining itself to be a limited being. And why? Because he was encumbered by his own fallacious beliefs, assumptions, stupidities. So consciousness is always one. Consciousness will always remain one. Even the criminal's consciousness is consciousness only. It is just that consciousness is playing through the shadow that covers all the 7 stages. This is one framework. Don't assume that you have understood everything. There are many more things to come because it's not that easy. So how do you like? So my class is over. I will just want to get your responses. And then how did you feel about today's class?
I want to tell that I really enjoyed the class because more questions were there, like you said, and it kept building more deeper and deeper. And I was just feeling very elated to be part of this and understand much more. So that's all I would share.
Okay, very good.
Sir, the classes that we are listening to you, it's enriching our experiences, and personally, it is giving me more strength to think beyond and not to attach to what I'm attached to right now. And it gives me a feeling that it is okay to lose something, because end of the day, in the whole transformation of moving from stage of Kali and Durga to Mahagauri, we have to lose something. So that's inevitable. And I think the discussions that we are going to have with you is going to prepare us more and give us more strength. So this is my experience and feeling.
You see, Raj, the way I imagine, I don't know, I may be a madman, but this is the way I imagine, is that we are like a family. Okay. And this relationship is lifelong, because this is relationship of seekers, right? And our job is to spread this good infection all over the planet, to grow light, their light. And that is the only sustainable solution to all the crises and all the problems. Now, with the power of technology, one enlightened man can certainly influence the planet very quickly. It did not take 1500 years. It may take 15 years only. Don't you agree with me? If there is sincerity and purity of intention, and if there is genuine enlightenment, it will definitely happen. So that is what my intention is, and I have Amma's blessings with me. Okay. So each one of you, try to become as perfected a being as possible, given the limitations of your current awareness. That is my humble request, and also try to bring more and more people into the circle of light. Maybe like-minded people. You will know your friends who are like-minded, and incorporate them also, and start to include them also in this class. And I visualize a day when this class will have hundreds and thousands of students from all over the world. As we keep moving forward, and we can become a family of Grow Your Light. We can even incorporate it, make it into an NGO. It can, there could be Grow Your Light T-shirts and Grow Your Light events and Grow Your Light. You know what I'm saying? We have to make it like a mass movement. Because light refers to God, right? And light refers to joy. Light refers to wisdom, to peace, to love. Everything that is beautiful and good. Satyam Sivam Sundaram, no? It's like Sundaram is light. Okay. Yeah, Sneha, you wanted to say something?
Yes, sir. I just have a doubt. Like in Tamil, they say, "Dushtame kandal dura veladu." That means just move away from the negative energy. So if you feel that space has negative energy and if it doesn't allow you to grow, just move away from that. My question is, it's just really a personal one that I am experiencing. So if I feel that certain situations or circumstances or people are completely, negative from my own perspective, should I just move away from them? Or as you said, just mentioned in the third step that we should be ethically, correct. So should I just stay in the same, position and just do my dharma, even though it's going to affect my happiness at this moment because I'm not perfect. I'm not completely insulated from the outside situation. So I just have this question all the time in my mind. Should I just move away or try to insulate myself from the external as of me? Because right now I'm completely vulnerable. I'm not that insulated and controlled enough to respond to situations rather than react.
Okay, so it's a very complex question and a very relevant question. Many people face this, dilemma. It's ethical dilemma. So, see, it depends upon the situation. So, who it is that you're talking about? Let's say it is my father, mother, or my husband. Then it becomes difficult, right? Then we have to see the degrees of negativity. If someone is a complete lunatic and is very dangerous for my own emotional health, then answer is yes, we should move away from that negativity. If it's a husband, we have to take divorce. Okay. And be strong enough to face the consequences. And so I've answered the first part. Who it is very important. But so I mean to say, is it a primary stakeholder in your life or secondary or tertiary? Tertiary stakeholder, just move away.
It's kind of secondary or tertiary.
Yeah,
So not
yeah,
primary, sir.
yeah. So you know what I'm saying. So tertiary, just move away because negativity will pull you down if you can afford to. If it is secondary, like a business partner or something like that, a friend or something, then also we need not move away completely, but it's a clap, so we don't give our hand. We keep our hand away so that the clapping doesn't happen. What I mean to say, we don't do things to aggravate them. Keep a safe distance. Still, because relationship is fetching me something, business something, there are some, because I'm giving very mundane answers. So some money is invested or something. You're getting some benefits out of that. So tolerate that, and
And
also understand that
and
negativity also is making you deeper.
Actually, this is what my question, sir. Will it actually, should I take it with all courage and say this is going to actually help me go deeper, or should I just move away?
No, courage alone is not enough. Knowledge is enough. Knowledge that this is an opportunity for me to grow my depth of awareness, and hence start growing your awareness. Just see his behavior or her behavior is triggering which button in me and what emotions are coming. And then it's a very enjoyable thing, like a scientist. Just enjoy the emotion, no anger, let us see. Sadness, it is so beautiful. Sadness is so beautiful. If you can enjoy sadness, no, you are always happy. What is the problem?
sir, can I add up something over here?
Why not, please?
Actually, I would add up here that suppose you are working in professional place, you must remain two kinds of life over there. First is your professional life, and second is your personal life, right, sir?
Yeah.
So I also have same kind of issue with my organization. So the person who is very bad, I know some people are very bad. So I professionally interact with them. It means when I see, then I do the good morning. Okay, sir.
Hmm.
And whenever I have some work, I go and approach them with professional attitude. Right, sir?
Hmm.
Okay, and obviously you will get some good friends, so I include them in my personal relationship, can say personal environment. We talk with them, we share a lot of good things, right, sir?
Yeah.
So but when we talk with professional dirty kinds of people, then we I am fully aware that I shouldn't hurt their ego, moreover can say their dignity, because if I hurt their ego and dignity, they can play the game with me. So I think this approach would be better.
Yeah, correct. You remain detached to them, just play your professional role and not give
Yeah,
them too much importance if you can afford to do
yeah,
that. But if
yeah,
someone
sir.
is someone, if someone, Hemant, just one, if someone is close to you emotionally a little bit and still a secondary stakeholder, like a friend, for example, then you can do as I said, like deal with them as you must. And knowing fully well that, there is no need to terminate the relationship because that is
Yeah,
too gross a decision. Use it as an opportunity to grow your consciousness, to develop your consciousness. It's like a net practice. No, someone is playing bouncer, throwing bouncers at you. So it's good.
yeah,
If life were very smooth, you will not grow. Life needs to be
yeah.
diverted a little bit. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Neha.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
I'll try to implement, and of course I'll get back to you
Yeah,
after
yeah.
some time how I have I
Yeah,
actually fully
so,
implemented what you have.
one tip I can give you is that always understand that the other person is a programmed robot. So it is not that person, the programming which is taking over the person. But you should be thankful to that person because he or she is succeeding in creating negative emotion inside you because you think you're such a sweet and wonderful person, but you see negativity is inside you. Otherwise, why will negativity outside disturb you?
It helps me to identify those hits that were identified by
Yeah, so
Kali.
that
I try
person,
to
that person,
identify
that
those
person is
things.
a partner.
Okay.
It's a Leela only. God has sent that person. So he is helping you to go deep within you and see where the buttons are hidden.
Yes,
Without his help, the buttons are very deeply buried. You can't see them. So
exactly.
You-
make that person, a tool to go deeper. So that is
Sir,
the meaning of Shiva holding the poison in the throat, transmuting poison into nectar.
Yes.
sir, actually, if you permit me, then I can share my experience with Sneha. I hope it could help her.
Okay.
Sneha, actually, I joined earlier. I was working with Amrita. I left and joined other organization. Okay. So by the grace of God, I came to know one my friend. Now he is my best friend, and by the grace of God and by the help of another professor, right? So he's a wonderful man. Actually, he taught me a lot of things. How you can crack the interview, how you should survive here. Okay, so he helped me a lot. So here point is that you keep faith on the God, and he will help you. And in your second question, can say second question, how to deal with bad people. So just treat them professionally, but with humble heart. I treat them with professionally, but with uh, not having any kind of ego, not having any kind of my stature of knowledge, because I feel and I am sure I am more knowledgeable than others. So I don't have ego and stature of knowledge, and a lot of things, because something varies from all things varies from organization to organization, right? So treat them with professional attitude, being humble, and later on you will find that these people are in trouble due to their own region, own activities and kinds of behavior, right? It happened with me because initially they treated me badly and they treated me with their mind game, but later on I found I am in good stage and they are suffering. Okay, so you can also try this.
Okay, Hemant, thank you.
Thank you
Can
so
we
much,
now,
Hemant.
we need to stop
I'll
the
try
class.
to implement this.
So yeah, thank you, Hemant. So we need to now stop the class because it's on 1:43 as per my computer clock. So we have been, together for more than 2 hours, 2 hours, 20 minutes actually. So, so wonderful that you stayed till the very end. And I hope you enjoyed, and we'll keep meeting like this every Sunday. We'll try to take it forward. Thank you once again, everyone.
Thank you for answer.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
For answer.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.